Oh, we've got summer heat and humidity in the eastern part of the United States, but not exactly off the wall as far as the heat is concerned, anyway. And a peppering of showers and thunderstorms here and some showers and thunderstorms there. It's all part of the summer equation that we have added together and have come up with the Joe and Joe Weather Show. We're going to also look at the long range and the tropics on this Sunday morning. And good morning to you.
I'm a little tired, so you'll have to excuse. But both Renata and I are tired this morning. We woke up at the stroke of 4 in the morning and got dressed quickly, jumped into our car, and traveled. I guess I think it's maybe 2 miles or 3 miles from here up to the elementary school, which is on a tall hill, which places us above the tree line. If you've ever been to Putnam Valley, it is a town or a community filled with trees every which way. But we went up to the elementary school to get above the tree line so that we could get a view of the alignment of the planets, which was quite visible from up there. We were able to see all five, and also a lovely crescent moon, which hovered very near to Venus. Have not had a chance yet to post it on Facebook, but it made the early hour of the morning well worth it. And we were in the parking lot. There were a lot of bright lights in the parking lot. Renata asked, he said, "Why are there so many bright lights, up here?" And I said, "Don't you know? It's to keep unscrupulous people like us who come at this early hour of the morning away from the elementary school." But nonetheless, we were up there. We did see the alignment. It was very, very lovely. We also saw the International Space Station pass across the sky, kind of a bonus. And then we got back home at about a quarter to five. And the original game plan was, all right, let's go to bed. Let's get back to bed. But I was flicking around cable at 4:45 in the morning just to see what's being offered, and I came across one of my very favorite movies. And when I saw that, I said, "Oh well, I can't go to sleep now. I've got to see the end," which was at like 20 after 5 in the morning. Death Wish, Joe, with Charles Bronson.
Oh,
Nothing like nothing like to kick off your Sunday
oh, yeah,
morning
just
by watching.
just such an up movie. Such a just an up movie. That's
and
I'm for up movies. Yes, go on.
and Renata was watching, and she said the actor who's playing the inspector, she couldn't quite place her finger on who it was Vincent Gardenia.
Right.
And I said, "You may remember him as the station manager who put everybody out of business at WJM in the final Mary Tyler Moore episode." She said, "No, that's not quite it." I said, "Or maybe you remember him as Mr. Lorenzo, the man who lived next door to Archie and All in the Family." That's it. That's who it is. And there you go.
Well,
So that's how I started my day. Then I did get a couple of hours sleep, and now I'm back up, semi refreshed to kick off the day with Joe and Joe with my favorite partner, Joe.
yes, and my favorite partner, Joe, and we both love ourselves, which is
Yes,
even better. So,
yes.
yeah, I, I've been kind of pushing this idea for weeks now that it's going to get when it gets hot for a day or two, and at least in the Northeast and Northern Mid Atlantic states anyway. Uh, and that's kind of how it seems to be playing out. And I'm looking at the week ahead, and except for the showers and storms for tomorrow, well, showers and thunderstorms that'll come through. It looks like they want to come through at midday, and in which case we probably won't have any severe weather to worry about. Uh, but much of this coming week looks pretty quiet and no worse. I'm sorry. No worse than maybe at the end of the week when we start to. It's sort of the same thing. Cold front comes through. We get a break in the humidity. The temperatures come down a little bit for a couple of days. Then it warms up, and then we've got another weather front that we'll have to deal with at some point over the 4th of July weekend. I'm we're kind of like in cruise control here for the next week to 10 days from what I see.
From what I see, I agree with you. Absolutely. It looks like, darn, I don't understand this.
What don't you
Unless I'm
understand?
doing, my wife. Well, no, if my wife, I know my wife is watching, and if she is,
Watching, she's
dear,
writing
would you
everything
please?
down for God's sake. She's recording
Yes,
these.
yes. Dear, you can hear me. Would you please try to send um, my the pictures that we took this morning from the school to my other account? I thought I did it this morning, but I guess I didn't because it's not. They're not there. I don't know what I did wrong, but I wanted to at least show one of them off, and I guess it didn't work.
Well, when
So
they come in,
anyway,
you have the sharing capabilities already turned on, so you can go ahead and do
bulletin
it.
bulletins to be broadcast at once,
Yeah, exactly.
and pictures too. All
Another
right, so yeah,
cruise
so
control.
we're in this rinse and repeat type cycle as you just mentioned, and yeah, we're gonna have a few nice days coming up tomorrow. One of the few clinkers. It looks like with this cold front moving in, we're gonna have to deal with some showery weather, thundery conditions too, possibly, and then two nice days coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday of this upcoming week.
Yeah, and I know everybody's the Fourth of July coming on a Monday this year means that everybody gets a 4 day. I'm sorry, a 3 day weekend. I always like the Fourth of July holiday. The fact of it that it's not one of those movable holidays that they address to a Monday, but it whatever day it falls on, it is. And it was always great when you had Fourth of July would fall on a Wednesday because
Right.
I was always a creative person when it came to crafting vacations. So if it fell on a Wednesday, you could take the Monday and Tuesday off, and then the Thursday and Friday off, and just make it basically a 7 day holiday. But can't do it this year because it is on a Monday, unless you want to take the whole week off after the fourth, or maybe the whole week off for the fourth, or just take both weeks off and just be done with it. Um,
Well,
th-
actually, it's in 2024. If I'm correct, 2024 we will have the 4th of July fall on a Thursday,
Thursday,
and you could be almost practically creative then. You know,
yes,
maybe you go in for a half a day on Monday and then take the rest of the week off.
right, exactly. So no, we're also down at a point where severe weather is kind of on a downturn here across the U.S. So we're past the peak of severe weather season. It will probably from here on in see, of course, once I say this, it's going to wind up being differently. Um, you're not going to see these sort of widespread severe weather outbreaks in the way you usually see them during the spring months. Although I have to tell you, we still have this really busy looking pattern out of Canada, and we keep getting these troughs that are dropping southeastward, these shortwave troughs dropping down southeastward, carving troughs in the eastern United States. I don't see that pattern breaking down anytime soon either.
No, I don't. I agree with you. I don't see that happening. What you'd like to see if you're into heat and humidity, and to prevent these short waves from coming through, I'd like to see like a gigantic ridge or at least a semi-gigantic ridge build up over the Atlantic seaboard, but that does not look like it's going to be happening anytime soon. By the way, I mentioned the possibility tomorrow of a thunderstorm. I don't really think we're going to be looking at anything, you know, on the verging on severe. It looks like if we do get a thunderstorm, it might be enough to wring out a heavier burst of rain in a few places. But if you're looking for, you know, vivid lightning,
No, that's not
the
happening.
possibility of damaging winds and hail, and that, no, that doesn't look like it's going to be happening, at least not tomorrow.
Well, the part of the big part of the issue is the fact that the front is sort of timing itself out for the middle of the day. That's not exactly going to be ripping with daytime heating ahead of it. In fact, you could probably make a case for the idea that clouds may already be here tomorrow, in which case temperatures will be having a tough time just getting into the low 80s
Right.
for daytime highs. So yeah, I would agree with you. Certainly, it's not a severe weather risk. SPC doesn't have a severe weather risk, and they're right not to have the severe weather risk. I kind of thought last week that maybe if the front timed itself for late in the day, which is when they usually like to come through, it would be we would be having a different conversation right now with regards to it. But I think we're okay. And by the way, we're going to take a look at that system that's out in the tropical Atlantic. It's really far south, Joe. It's not even at 10 degrees north. So if it doesn't get if it somehow manages not to move into Venezuela and make its way into the southernmost Caribbean, I think that just, with the way the pattern is and this sort of east-west ridge that extends from the southwest all the way to off the southeast coast, that thing's going to go straight westward. I don't see any weaknesses in there that would allow anything to move northward. It just is just going to. It may never get north of 15 degrees north if that's the case.
Yeah, well, they do have over a 5 day interval. They are talking about the possibility of 70%. But 5 days from now, you're right. It may actually be already inland over Venezuela. So it doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot to get excited about. We have another disturbance that's in the Gulf of Mexico, but chances for that to form in the next 48 hours, NHC gives that near 0%, and through 5 days, quite low at 20%. So the tropics remain quiet as we move toward the end of the month of June.
Yep. And here we go on the satellite loop, and it comes complete with lightning strikes. We got a little bit of activity going on at the moment in parts of right along the Tennessee-Arkansas border and in southeastern Missouri. Also seeing some flashes of lightning along the central Gulf Coast from southeast Louisiana east just offshore the westernmost part of the Florida Panhandle. Otherwise, it's fairly quiet, nice and sunny from Maine down to central Florida. However, and I can attest to this, I have a lot of clouds here, and that is going to hold the temperatures down. I'm not even 75 yet, by the way, as far as the temperature is concerned. A lot of clouds here in North
Over.
Georgia and up the Appalachians, and that's that weather front moving through. And then, of course, you look up in the Dakotas uh, and into Minnesota and Iowa, back to Montana. That's a nice little shot of dry air, and that will be arriving after that front moves through the east. And some of that air is actually going to make it down, even down to me, which is nice. It's going to make for a week coming up where temperatures are not going to be able to do very much between the frontal boundary that's going to be close by and the chances for some showers and storms in parts of the southeast. Nothing that's going to cause any problems, but enough to hold the temperatures back.
Right. And Tom Contino asking me if I plot out the lifted index and make determinations as to whether or not there's the potential for severe weather. Tom, I'm looking right now at the lifteds, and they do support convection, but really not all that great. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the lifted at LaGuardia is -2. If you really wanted to get into a severe weather situation, you'd like to see it as low as -5. That's not going to happen tomorrow. In fact, from 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the lifteds actually go up to +1 by 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So there is that chance. They do drop at LaGuardia 0.14 inches of moisture between 2 and 8 o'clock tomorrow, 2 and 8 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. So again, there is the possibility for a few rumbles of thunder or a flash or two of lightning. But if you're looking for something to make or turn into a major severe weather event, that does not look like it's going to be happening, at least not tomorrow in the immediate New York metropolitan area.
On the lower left of the satellite loop, you'll notice the circulation of tropical storm Celia, and some of the moisture from that is trying to get involved with the monsoonal flow that we have in the southwest. So that continues, and we're seeing a lot of clouds from eastern Arizona, western New Mexico, running northeastward into parts of Colorado and the Dakotas, and then it kind of hooks up with that cold front. But still good to see that they're getting moisture in parts of the southwest where it has been bone dry. And on the radar, we do have some showers and thunderstorms. And we've got some crossing eastern West Virginia into western North Carolina. That's to the northeast of me. There are a couple of teeny weeny little dots there on the radar. Also in northeastern Tennessee and points northward into eastern Kentucky. The thunderstorms getting a little more robust in southern Illinois, western Kentucky, northwestern Tennessee. Got one little severe thunderstorm warning there that popped up at 11:50 morning in southeastern Missouri, and that moisture continues in an east-west fashion into southern Kansas, mostly in the form of some rain and showers, northwest Texas, and as you can see in New Mexico and down to southeastern Arizona, around or east of Tucson, seeing a concentration of showers there. Otherwise, the rest of the country is very, very quiet. The Storm Prediction Center has a narrow area of marginal risk today from northern Mississippi, central and eastern Tennessee, up the west side of the Appalachians to the small corner there in southwestern New York State, and they have no severe weather forecast for tomorrow, Monday into Tuesday morning. It is just the general thunderstorms, which I'm sort of waiting for that to load up, but for some reason it's not. Let's hit the refresh button and see if we can get this going again.
Hello.
Yes, I'm unstable. Can you hear
Oh,
me? It said my internet
yes,
connection
I do.
was briefly unstable. So we have just general
Yes.
thunderstorms indicated in the coastal plain in the east to the southeast, down into Florida, and then up in the southwest, going up into the northern plains. But no severe weather is being indicated by the Storm Prediction Center. I mean, there's always the outside chances they could stick a marginal risk somewhere in there, but it's not going to be anything more than that. And then two small areas of marginal risk, one in Wisconsin and southeastern Minnesota, on this is for Tuesday into Wednesday, and also into north central and northeastern Montana. And that's really about it. I'm not even going to pull up the long range. I don't think they had any severe being indicated. Nope, no area, so we won't even bother to look at those. Rainfall over the next 7 days. Actually, a fair amount of rainfall along the Gulf Coast from southeast Texas to southern Mississippi and Alabama, up to several inches of rain being indicated there. Also in southwestern Florida. Otherwise, we're looking at, if this takes us through next Sunday, it's a half to three quarters of an inch of liquid being forecast. So that would probably include the next, but not the front. It'll include the front for tomorrow, and then maybe one for uh, say late next Saturday. But this is actually runs into Sunday morning, next Sunday morning. Uh, half an inch to an inch and a half from Pennsylvania, western Pennsylvania into West Virginia. Some of this is front end loaded with what's going on today. Also in parts of Kansas, Nebraska, kind of in this narrow east-west band here, and in New Mexico and in Colorado. So the rain is certainly welcome there. But California, not a drop anywhere. Nevada, not a drop. Practically not a drop in Oregon and Idaho. A few drops up to a quarter of an inch in parts of the Pacific Northwest. Now, uh, Joe, the teleconnections really are not, they're certainly not signaling any kind of wholesale change. The one thing that's a little different, and I think this favors maybe the idea that more often than not in the next 2 weeks you're going to have rain-free days, is the fact that the PNA, the Pacific North America Index, which is right now at a negative one, one standard deviation negative. So we're talking about pressure patterns in the Pacific when you subtract the highs and the lows, the pressures, the highs and the lows, you come up with a value. And when it's negative, it's telling you that you have generally troughiness in the western part of the United States and ridging in the eastern part of the United States. Well, that's actually going to go above the neutral line for a short time, then sort of zigzags a bit as we head through the first week to 10 days of the new month of July. And the NAO, I mean, I'm starting to wonder whether they're just cutting and pasting the same map every day, the same diagram every day, and just leaving it, because it really hasn't changed very much. We're sitting on the neutral line. We're going to be slightly negative on the average for the next 2 weeks. You see that a bunch of the half the members are well above, half the members are well below. So there might be a little bit of model volatility going forward. But I just, again, this just says to me, the trend is your friend, and until there's an obvious something obvious shows up to take this pattern and break it down, it's just going to be more the same stuff that we've had.
Yes, well, since you say that I have sharing capabilities, let me show you what the Climate Prediction Center is thinking over the next couple of weeks. First of all, let's show you the map indicating what is expected from July 1st to July 5th. This period encompasses, of course, the upcoming holiday weekend, and it shows that in our neck of the woods here in the Northeast, we are above normal. In fact, the above normal is indicating or leaning to between 40 and 50% probability. The hot part of the forecast, or the places where the probability for above normal is at its greatest, is down here over in central and eastern Texas. And let's see, let's say one, two, three, four. So that indicates 60 to 70% likely above normal probability for temperatures here in Texas. But meanwhile, here in our neck of the woods, the Northeast, it's above normal, but nothing, really to write home about. I would suppose we'll be looking at temperatures generally during this time frame in the middle 80s, maybe upper 80s. As far as precipitation is concerned, just go over here for a second. There you go. Now, this is the change. When we were last together on Thursday, the indications were that the precipitation amounts would be near normal, but now they are suggesting above normal, especially so over portions of the Virginias, North Carolina, and eastern sections of Kentucky. This is a bit of a change again from Thursday when they were indicating near normal precipitation. So maybe, Joe, maybe, and I guess this takes into account the threat of scattered showers or thunderstorms next weekend. Maybe that's why they are trending toward above normal.
Right.
Then, as we look ahead to 8 to 14 days out, look at this. Now, this is a change. July 3rd to July 9th, all of a sudden, what happened to the above normal temperatures here in the Northeast? Now, all of a sudden, from the 3rd to the 9th of July, below normal probability for temperatures. So we may actually cool down a bit, either late in the holiday weekend or maybe even beyond. And as far as the precipitation is concerned, check this out here. Also close to near normal.
Well, you know what
So
that's.
maybe
Well, you
I
just
was just going to say that
no.
maybe what
Go
they're
ahead.
suggesting is that before the next front arrives, or early in the weekend, early in the holiday weekend, the front arrives, warm air ahead of it, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Then the front passes on by, probably sometime around the 3rd or the 4th of July. And behind that, we get a bit of a bubble or a surge of drier and somewhat cooler air, which encompasses our area through the first 10 days of the new month of July.
Right, and if you go back to that temperature map, what it says to me is, there's always a general focus when you look at the long range. Sometimes you're looking at all these things that are going on in all these different places, and how they're impacting the weather in your particular area of the country. And sometimes you just have to sort of look at what's happening on top of you. And when you look at the temperatures on the wide view, Joe, if you go on that wider view, um, uh, on the temp outlook, if you look at see where what it means with regards to the below in the east and the below in the west, is the fact that we've seen this already with this ridge, this upper high that's been settling in the middle Mississippi Valley back into the southern plains and building up toward the northern plains. And it kind of flattened out a little bit in the last week or so. Now you're seeing in the long range where it's coming back up, and that seems to be the signature of the summer so far. The other thing is, the belows on both coasts are telling you that you're going to have troughs along or off both coasts, which is kind of what we've been dealing with. So the one thing I would just say with regards to the precip, and this is the one issue that you might have going forward in a pattern like this. We're watching these short waves come down from Canada. If we get a situation where uh, the northwest flow doesn't get as far south, that's when you may run into some problems where you get one of these frontal boundaries that comes through, one of these east-west frontal boundaries comes through and then stalls out just to your south because you don't have a strong enough push from the north to drive it further south, and that's where you could wind up getting into a situation where you've got more clouds to deal with and maybe on and off rain that might show up from place to place and from time to time. I'm just giving this sort of a broad brush here with regards to that. But yeah, I mean, other than that, as I said, as you said earlier, wash, rinse, repeat.
Right, and as you can see on this particular map, they're calling for a slight chance of excessive heat all the way up to South Dakota. A moderate risk, I suppose, in this zone here. Um, I assume it's moderate. They don't have a label or anything. Everything is slight. So I guess all of this is for slight chance of excessive heat, which covers much of the central and southern here of the United States, across Texas, and even gets into your vicinity, Joe. Although maybe not quite. You're verging on slight risk of excessive heat, but up further to the north, up where we are here in the tri-state area, no sign of any extreme or excessive heat going right on into the first 10 days of July. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now today, I think will be a little different as opposed to what we had yesterday. Yesterday, for the first time this year, first time this month, I should say, we actually saw temperatures at Central Park reach to 90 degrees. Um, but it wasn't a bad 90. At
Right.
the time that it hit 90 degrees, the dew point was like 53, 54. Today, the dew points should be higher. In fact, the Moss outlook, which I was looking at just a little while ago, suggests dew points at LaGuardia and New York and much of the region in the low to mid 60s. So it'll be about as hot as it was yesterday, but with the higher dew point levels, it should be a bit more uncomfortable out there. So just try to stay cool. And it's not, as they've often said, it's not so much the heat. Today, it will be indeed the humidity,
It's the humidity. The
the,
humidity.
the humidity.
All right,
Yeah.
let's take a look at what's going on in the tropics, because if you remember, Joe, I said last week the tropics, nothing much was going to happen in the tropics, and virtually on the next Outlook they put out something about what was out in the deep into the tropical Atlantic. So I'll bring it up on the satellite loop. I just reloaded that so we could take a look. And now bear in mind, folks, a couple of things. First off, you might notice uh, there's like a hazy look to things in Africa here, north of 5 degrees north, actually more north of 10 degrees north, and that's part of that Saharan dust, and some of it is coming out into the Atlantic and pushing westward. This is the tropical wave that the Hurricane Center is talking about in their outlook. It looks a little bit more active than it did yesterday and a little more concentrated. It appears that something is going to try and develop out of this as it moves on to the west. But bear in mind that uh, the southernmost windward islands, okay, and I'm drawing this straight line running across. That is 10 degrees north latitude. That's how far south this is, okay? 20 degrees north is up here, north of the islands in Puerto Rico. So when you get into July and August, all of this stuff that you see that's in what we call the intertropical convergence zone, you see all the cloudiness from the African coast uh, westward to the coast of South America to Venezuela. That actually shifts up northward into that 10 degrees north to 20 degrees north band. That's when you get these Cape Verde systems that develop and sometimes become major hurricanes. That you start to see that late July, August. So in the next month, this area should start shifting northward. But in the meantime, this is so far south that there's a chance that it could actually go inland into Venezuela and then never, never really make it out of there, or just some sort of remnant low uh, goes into the Caribbean. And even if it does, I want you to just take a look at the upper flow. And what we have here is on the GFS. We just clean that up a bit. But as we watch the upper air over the next 10 days, we're seeing a high pressure in the upper atmosphere building. This is on Thursday. You've got now on Thursday a rather strong upper high sitting just east of the Bahamas, and it extends well out into the Atlantic and well to the west into Texas. There's another a high center back to the west. So your flow is pretty much from east to west all across the Caribbean. There's no weakness here for any weather system to turn more northwestward. It might pick up a little bit of a northerly component, but I got to bet, Joe, that much the European, the GFS, they're all pretty much in the same place when it comes to this. They try to develop it. It looks like if it does, it would be a rather small, tight system that comes out of this, and you see it there. Uh, Barely makes it. I mean, it barely makes it. Looks like it goes right over Trinidad, Tobago, and then just goes almost straight west into the Southwest Caribbean as a tight little system, and then heads out into Central America, and then out on the Pacific side. There is also some other second tropical wave that the models are picking up on east of the leewards on at the end of this week. Little closed low there, northeast of Barbados, that moves westward. But the models on one run last night tried to do something with it, but then it sort of backed away. And I tend to think that more likely than not, we're not going to see a second system develop behind the first one.
Okay, well, basically the pattern that is indicated by the National Hurricane Center is for relatively quiet conditions, and that whatever is out there isn't going to develop very much per your discussion. So it looks like again things are going to be nice and quiet for the next week or two, and compared to what we've been dealt in recent summers, where everything was already well revved up and we've already were seeing a lot of activity. It's kind of nice to be going through a quiet period at this point in the summertime in terms of the tropics. So
Works for me.
I, for one, hope that it continues. Yeah, same here. So different from all those years ago, Joe, when we were just starting out in the business, and we would look at the tropical outlook and the tropical satellite pictures and saying, come on,
Yeah,
let's
no,
go, come on."
no, we don't do that anymore.
We don't do that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So no real issues other than whatever activity develops this afternoon in western central PA into eastern Ohio. That's the area where SPC's got some risk. You see the showers and storms in the southwest. Also see some showers in northeastern Minnesota, but otherwise it's a fairly quiet summer day here. The cold front tomorrow morning is, well, it's already into western New Jersey. And again, the timing of this is such as this is coming through early in the day, means that you just don't have the daytime heating to give the atmosphere that little extra instability to trigger off some severe weather. Yeah, there'll probably be some thunderstorms in there, but they shouldn't be problematic. They'll extend down into the Carolinas, where actually maybe in North Carolina, Southeast Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and to me, there might be a stronger thunderstorm or two in the mix. Drier air comes in on Tuesday. There's a weak front that goes by Wednesday that mostly to the north. It doesn't really do very much. Maybe there's a chance for a scattered shower or storm in upstate New York and into northern New England. And then we go back to this sort of ridge position in the east, where we'll start to warm up, just kind of like what we saw this weekend. And then going into next Saturday. Now here we got the 4th of July weekend. So let's take a look. Here's what the model was doing last night, and I kind of like this idea where this front which looks like it's going to come. Originally, Joe, it looked like we were getting a front come through on Friday. Now it looks like it comes through sometime on Saturday with some showers and thunderstorms. And as long as the northern part of that jet stream is strong enough, that front should push south, and you get this look here where it sort of hangs around on Sunday morning, but then it does push southward after that, and you wind up with a nice day for the 4th of July. The risk here, though, is that when we look at the upper air, and this is what we'll be paying attention to this week when it comes to the 4th of July weekend. The models have been trying to show a fairly strong, another one of these upper lows dropping down into eastern Canada. And over the last couple of days, it backed away from that. It kept it more to the northwest, which sort of gave you the notion that maybe the front would stall out and it would be a problem. Now on this run, on the overnight run anyway, it's back to trying to drive it an upper low into eastern Canada again. Now, if that happens, there should be enough of a push that I would say probably 2 out of the 3 days will be okay. And by the way, even if we do wind up with some showers and storms on Saturday, they would be late in the day and in the evening, so most of the day will be fine. And then it'll be just a matter of trying to figure out how quickly does it improve on Sunday. But that trough will be the key to what kind of a 4th of July weekend it turns out to be. And then just going forward, that northwest flow is there. Here comes another short wave next Thursday, driving down into eastern Canada, and this one gets pretty far south along the east coast at the end of not this new week coming up, but the week of the 4th of July. And then guess what? Here comes another one that's right behind it. So uh, as we've said now for the umpteenth time, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and the trend is your friend, et cetera, et cetera. So the pattern we've got is the pattern we've got.
Right. I think I'm not going to yet christen this another one of those what I christened, I think, the summer of 2013 or 2014, a Garden of Eden summer where we had a paucity or a lack of any heat waves and extreme heat in that summer. I'm not going to do that yet for this particular summer season. I mean, the summer officially has only been around now for the last week or so, but um, this looks like a good place to be, the northeastern U.S., at least as we lead into July. I don't understand why there are some individuals out there who say, "Oh, let's go to Disney World. Let's go to Disney World in July. Oh, I love to go down to Florida and visit." I don't understand people who do stuff like that, Joe. I mean, you know that they're between early June and late September. There's a different name for Disney World. You know what that is?
No.
Muggyland.
Oh, Monkey. Yeah, I haven't been.
Uh,
Yeah, it's Disney World is not my thing. I mean, I took my kids there and it was fun. I don't get the
but when did you go, Joe? What time of the year did you go?
uh trying to remember. Um, I want to say we went probably in April or May, like maybe
All
around
right.
like around
It's
the
not.
East. I think it was I think the times we went were in April during my kids being in Catholic school. It was great because they would get 2 weeks off, and they would usually be off when everybody else wasn't off, so it wasn't too crowded. When I was a kid, the first time we went to Disney World, it was in the month of July, and it was hot, but we managed. And but it's just not from. I don't know. I just kind of have this view as I'm not paying somebody $200 just to smile at me. you
I've been
know.
to Disney World in July. I've been to Disney World. In fact, the running joke over at News 12 Westchester was I chose the week to go to Disney World. That was the week then that we had our F2 tornado that moved right across the heart of Westchester County. And His Eminence, Brian Fitzgerald, was filling in for me that week. And he was at News 12 when the tornado hit. And I still remember after a day of sweat and a day of waiting on long lines and a day when you'd wait on a line and all of a sudden they sound a siren or a bell and say, because of thunderstorms, we're suspending the ride for the moment until they sound the all clear. after all of that, you come back to your hotel room, you see the little red light flashing, and it was my mom. And my mom said, "Hi, folks. How you doing down there? Hope you're having a good time. Joe, did you hear there was a major tornado in Westchester today?" What? What? And
Yep.
I was not in the best of moods for the rest of our Disney trip.
Oh, well, that wouldn't have bothered me to have it happen while I was on vacation. So, but that's me.
Yeah, but you know what, Joe? When something like that happens, it's kind of like your Super Bowl. You know, they all attention is suddenly garnered toward you,
Yeah.
not the latest in
I've had it.
crime and the latest in this
I've
and that.
I've had enough attention garnered toward me over the years. You know, I would have been okay with it. I was different when I
But you know
was
what?
when I was on vacation. I was on vacation. I wanted to be left alone.
But you know what? Two people at News 12 used that to their advantage. Paul Pioric, who was at News 12 Connecticut, used coverage of that day, and that coverage garnered him an Emmy. He actually got an Emmy thanks to that coverage of the tornado. And our dear friend Mr. Fitzgerald used some of the clips from that day, submitted it, and ended up getting a job. He wasn't there for very long, but he did get a job with an NBC affiliate out in Pennsylvania. So you utilize these events, these occurrences to your full advantage. And I, knowing that the opportunity had just gone through my fingers because instead of covering a major tornado, I was spending time with Winnie the Pooh.
You were with your kids, and you were with your wife and your kids. At the end of the day, Joe, at the end of the day, you're going to be happy that you spent that time with your wife and your kids and not that you were at work covering a tornado.
You know what, Joe? Maybe never mind.
You better answer. She's watching the show. You better answer that question
I
correct.
understand that.
Okay.
I understand.
All right.
But she also knows that there are certain things that make me happy, and that would have been one of the things
All
to make
right.
me happy
So, but there
was to
are other
be
things.
was to be
Okay.
was to be there. And he said, "Yes, well, of course, right now we're looking at the radar. Let's show
Yeah.
that radar right now. You can see it's passing right along the Sawmill Parkway.
Yeah.
So if all
Yeah.
of you,
All
no,
right.
that kind of,
Okay. All right. You know what? You can't go back. It's the way it was. Let's
yeah, but yours truly, you come back from Disney World, and all you hear for the following week is people saying, "Joe, where were you during
where
the
were you?
tornado?
Oh yeah, those people you
Where
want to
were you?"
those people you want to smack those people you want to smack upside the head. All right, let's we're going to wrap it up on this Sunday. It's a quarter of 12. It's a summer day. You want to be at the pool, the beach, or doing whatever it is you want to be doing. Super chat hits today from Leon Probitsky, Izzy D, and oh my God, I can't believe it. My mind just went blank. There's one more. One more. Who's the third one? Oh, Anthony Orr,
Hang
because
on.
it was Anthony Orr. Anthony Orr, before the show started, hitting super chat. Thanks to all three of you. Uh, I really don't have much to add other than the fact that I have my lunch inside my air fryer, so I'm going to go eat it. And on that note, everybody will be back. Joe and I will be back tomorrow at our usual broadcast time, which is
7:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And for my last words, I will tell you that on the chat board, the lovely Mrs. Rayo says, "Thank you, Mr. Chiaffi." Exactly.